Welcome back. You're tuned into ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena. Well, in this segment, we have a very interesting report by Kantar called the Brand Inclusion Index that reveals that progressive advertising is proven to drive brand sales. In fact, the study identifies that inclusive marketing is a significant opportunity to drive brand growth. Well, it is clear that brands who fail to address discrimination risk alienating a significant portion of their customer base. Well, despite progresses being made by some of the brands, the Brand Inclusion Index 2024 reveals a significant inclusion gap that businesses must address. In fact, when it comes to Gen Zs in India, inclusion is not as linear as the narrative. In fact, Gen Zs face more discrimination than average. 82% Gen Zs have experienced discrimination in the last 1 year, which is significantly higher than the India average at 68% and the global average of 46%. Well, to tell us more about this, we are joined by Soumya Mohanty, who's the Managing Director and Chief Client Officer of South Asia Insights Division of Kantar. Let's welcome Soumya to our show. Then, Soumya, hi, welcome to ET Now Hangouts. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Well, Soumya, tell us about the Brand Inclusion Index report that Kantar has come out with, and what are the key highlights of this report?
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Yes, Kantar has for the first time come up with the Brand Inclusion Index, something that we are very proud of because it's something that nobody else has really ventured into. What Brand Inclusion Index does, it's a study that has been done across the world where we have met underrepresented groups. About 23,000 such people have been surveyed across the world and 1,000 in India. And when we talk of underrepresented groups, what we mean is groups like minorities in India, LGBTQ groups, lower socioeconomic people. So we have actually met all such people that do not get adequate representation when it comes to media or when it comes to many times brand activities as well. We have tried to understand from them what do they want, how inclusive do they feel our brands are, our commercial spaces are, our personal spaces are, and also ask them the brands that are doing a better job at being inclusive versus some of the others. So broadly, that is what Brand Inclusion Index does. And if I was to talk about some of the key highlights, the first key highlight is everybody wants a more inclusive society, and Indians even more so. So the Indian, about 70% of Indians actually want a more inclusive brands to be more inclusive compared to about 46% on average globally. So we do want brands to be more inclusive. I think that's the sort of the first point. The second is that these underrepresented groups have faced some degree of discrimination in different spaces, mostly in commercial space, but some of the groups have also faced a little more when it comes to their personal spaces. So that's one sort of cause for concern. And the third thing is that some brands are doing a better job than others, and probably there's a lot to learn from the brands that are doing a better job, and what are they doing that actually makes consumers feel or underrepresented groups feel that they are more inclusive. There are learnings to be derived from there.
Well, Soumya, interestingly, according to your study, Gen Z faces the most discrimination than average. In fact, your study says that 82% Gen Z have experienced discrimination in the last 1 year, which is significantly higher than the India average of 68%. What are the potential reasons for this? Why is it that the Gen Z feels more discriminated?
So, I mean, fundamentally, Gen Z feels they have been discriminated against more compared to the older people. So there are a couple of hypotheses for that. One is they're probably less likely to accept discrimination, if I may put it, compared to the older generation. We are probably a little more fatalistic. Gen Z is expecting more from the world compared to the older folks. So that's the first thing. The expectations itself is higher of how you expect the world to be. The second is they are facing, actually the data is saying that they face greater discrimination in personal spaces, in school, colleges, in family events particularly. Now that the hypothesis we have is that the way social media has grown, the way Insta has grown, there is always that need to sort of keep up to a certain image, which is a social image, which is whether it comes to beauty, whether it comes to body type, and the pressure is the highest on Gen Z, and therefore at an event, family function, somebody says something to you about the way you look, or maybe, you are probably not following the kind of, maybe you have not taken the kind of academic stream that they expect you to take. That kind of stuff is more likely to happen, and you're more likely to feel it. You're more sensitive to it because you are being continuously being asked to live up to a certain kind of image, which is being projected in sort of social media by a lot of influencers. And that is the pressure under which Gen Z live. They live under a constant, they're actually in a fishbowl. And that's why they feel discriminated against. Now, and they're probably less likely to take it and say that, it's okay. They're saying, yeah, I feel discriminated and I probably want the world to accept me for who and what I am.
Right. Soumya, also, what are the expectations of the young audience? What is it that Gen Z wants from the brands then?
I think the simplest expectation is the kind of imagery that we show, the kind of representation of our models, our heroes, has to be more diverse. It has to show different contexts, different body types. The gender representation has, again, to be more diverse and not stereotypical. Show women the way they are in real life, not, a caring, nurturing homemaker, or on the other side, somebody who is juggling 25 different things at the same time. Just show women as normal. Similarly, show different types of body types. I mean, for example, if you look at the Dove advertising, they do an excellent job of showing different. They've done a recent ad which actually shows different, women who look slightly different than what you normally find. So I think Gen Z is saying something very simple. I mean, show me real people, and real people are not stereotyped. They have diversity. They have diversity in how they look. They have diversity in the kind of things they do, the kind of things they enjoy doing. So allow me that diversity in representation so that I don't feel the pressure to live up to a certain kind of image. And I think that's what they're wanting brands to do. They're also wanting brands to be broadly more inclusive in terms of, and diverse in terms of what they do for the society. I think they are holding brands to a much higher standards than in the past. Also, they get to know a lot about what brands are doing through social media. So they react much faster if they feel something has been done which excludes a certain group.
And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of ET Now Hangouts. I'll take your leave, but I'll see you next week with some more interesting conversations and the latest trends. See you soon.